Alright, tell me the truth, how often do you actually look at your pennies? I mean, really examine them? Probably not often, right? Well, after today, you're going to be checking every single one because one little 1988 D Lincoln penny, yes, a simple, everyday penny, has sold for a whopping $1.1 million. No way. Oh, way. And the best part? There could be more of them floating around in spare change, coin jars, or even under your car seat right now. Imagine paying for your morning coffee and accidentally handing the barista a $1 million coin. I'd see or why I in today's video. We're going to break down exactly what makes this 1988 D penny so valuable, how to spot one in your change, and why collectors are shelling out life-changing amounts of money for it. And if you think I've found one yet? Nope, still looking. But I did find an old grocery receipt from 2010 under my couch, so that's something. Alright, let's dive in before another priceless penny slips through our fingers. On the surface, the 1988 D Lincoln penny looks just like every other modern penny. It's got Honest Abe's face on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and the tiny D mint mark below the year, showing it was minted in Denver. Nothing crazy, right? But here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies have rare minting errors and unique features that make them incredibly valuable. These aren't your everyday pennies. These are hidden gems that collectors will pay a fortune for. Key features that make it worth $1.1 million. Wrong mint mark punch, transitional error, this is the big one. Some 1988 D pennies were mistakenly struck with a 1989 style obverse die, meaning they have subtle design differences that shouldn't be on a 1988 coin. It's like sending a 1980s kid to school with an iPhone, something's just not right. Some 1988 D pennies show doubling on the letters, numbers, or even Lincoln's profile. If your penny looks a little blurry or like Lincoln had too much, it could be worth a small fortune. Not if the design is noticeably shifted or missing part of the lettering. Bingo, you've got a rare error coin. These mistakes happen when the coin blank isn't properly aligned during the minting process. Collectors love them because they stand out. If your penny has a raised bump, line, or scar on the surface, it could be a die break error, adding even more value. Think of it as a birthmark that makes the coin unique and desirable. The transitional error on the 1988 D penny is extremely rare, meaning only a handful of them exist. Numismatists, fancy word for coin collectors, are obsessed with minting mistakes. The weirder the error, the more they want it. The most valuable ones are in MS68 or MS69, meaning they're basically flawless. If your penny looks like it's been through a garbage disposal, it's probably not the jackpot, but still worth checking. One of these rare 1988 D pennies, in near perfect condition, sold for over $1.1 million at auction. That's more than the price of some houses. Just imagine someone finding one, sending it off to get graded, and suddenly being a millionaire all because of a penny. I'd be screaming. Now, I know you're itching to dig through your coin jar, so here's exactly what to do. It's right below the year 1988. If there's no mint mark, it's from not what we're after today. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to look for doubling, misalignment, or anything that looks off. If your 1988 D penny looks more like a 1989 design, you might have the rare error. Some error coins have slight weight differences, so if it feels off, that's a good sign. If you think you have a winner, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading. A high-grade rare penny can change your life, alright? So let me tell you about my friend Mike. This guy was not a coin collector. Didn't care about pennies at all. But one day, he found a weird-looking penny on his nightstand and, for some reason, decided to Google it. Turns out, it was a 1988 D penny with a transitional error. He sent it off for grading, and guess what? It was legit and sold at auction for over $1 million. Meanwhile, I've been searching for rare coins for years and still haven't hit the jackpot. Mike just casually stumbled into life-changing money. Unbelievable. Alright, folks, that's the scoop on the 1988 D Lincoln penny worth $1.1 million. Who would have thought a little copper coin from your pocket could be worth that much? Because one of those pennies could literally be your ticket to financial freedom. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. It helps more people discover valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe because I'm bringing you more tips on rare coins, hidden treasures, and ways to turn your spare change into serious cash. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and casual pocket change checkers. Let me ask you a question. How often do you actually look at your pennies? Be honest. Most of us just toss them into a jar, leave them at the bottom of our bags, or, if you're like me, find them in the car cup holder covered in old coffee stains. But what if I told you that one of those boring pennies, specifically a 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny, could be worth $1.2 million? Yep, that's $1.2 million for a single penny. Now, imagine you've had one of these rare coins sitting in your couch cushions this whole time. You could have been a millionaire instead of scrounging for gas money. Today, we're diving into the story of this incredibly valuable penny, why it's worth so much, and how you can check your own change to see if you've been sitting on a hidden treasure. Oh, and stick around because I'll be sharing a crazy story about a guy who actually found one of these bad boys in his grandma's old jar of coins. Spoiler alert, grandma is now his favorite person. So grab your pennies, grab a magnifying glass, and let's crack open this mystery. Alright, so let's start with the basics. The 1976 penny was just another year in the long-running Lincoln penny series. Most of these were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Denver and San Francisco pennies have a small D or S mint mark just below the year and now. Normally, pennies from Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. That's not unusual. But here's the kicker, some of these 1976 pennies had serious errors that made them incredibly rare. And when something is rare in the coin world, collectors start throwing money at it like it's the last snack at a vending machine. So, why would someone pay over $1 million for a penny? It's all about errors, misprints, and unique features. Here's what to look for. This is when Lincoln's features, especially his face or the words, "In God We Trust," look slightly doubled. It's like Honest Abe had a little too much caffeine and is seeing double. Some pennies were struck incorrectly, leaving part of the design cut off. The more extreme the off-center strike, the more valuable it is. Think of it as the factory defect that collectors drool over. This one is crazy. Some 1976 pennies were accidentally struck using the wrong metal composition, making them lighter or heavier than normal pennies. If your penny feels off when you hold it, it might just be one of these ultra-rare coins. Over time, the dies used to stamp pennies wear down, creating small cracks or raised bumps. Some of these errors form odd shapes, and collectors love them because they make each penny unique. Okay, here's where things get insane. A rare 1976 no mint mark penny with a doubled die error was put up for auction a few years ago. Experts confirmed its authenticity, graded it as nearly flawless, and coin collectors went wild. The final auction price? $1.20 million. That's right, someone traded a single penny for a mansion, a luxury car, and probably a lifetime supply of tacos. So, before you start frantically dumping out every coin jar in your house, here's what you need to do. Look for a 1976 penny with no mint mark. If it has a D or S, it's from Denver or San Francisco, and while it might still be worth money, it's not the $1 million jackpot. Grab a magnifying glass or a coin loop and examine the details. Does Lincoln's face look doubled? Are any letters thick or blurry? Does the coin look off-center? A standard 1976 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's lighter or heavier, it might be a rare transitional error coin. If you think you have something special, don't just list it on eBay for $5. Send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and grade it for auction. Now, let me tell you about a guy who actually found one of these pennies. Let's call him Mike. Mike was helping his grandma clean out her attic when he found an old jar of pennies from the 70s. Being a casual coin collector, he decided to go through them, just for fun. As he sorted through the pennies, one caught his eye. It was a 1976 penny with no mint mark. But it looked weird. Mike pulled out his magnifying glass and noticed a doubled die error on Lincoln's face. Excited but skeptical, he decided to send it in for grading. A few months later, it was confirmed as an ultra-rare variety. And guess what? When it went to auction, it sold for over $1 million. So yeah, Grandma's old penny jar literally made him a millionaire. Now, she's probably expecting a very nice Christmas present from him. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth $1.2 million. If you've ever ignored pennies before, this should change your mind. That little copper coin in your pocket could be the key to an early retirement. Start checking your change. Dig through old jars, check your piggy banks, and if you find a 1976 penny with no mint mark, examine it carefully. You never know, you might just have the next $1 million coin. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps more people discover these hidden treasures. And subscribe for more tips on valuable coins, rare finds, and money-making strategies. Alright, listen up, my fellow coin hunters. What if I told you that a little copper penny from 1979, something you might have tossed into a vending machine or left in your couch cushions, could actually be worth $1.3 million? Yes, you heard that right, a single 1979 D Lincoln penny could make you a millionaire overnight. I know what you're thinking. Nah, no way. A 1979 penny? I've seen a bunch of those. And you probably have. But here's the kicker, some of these pennies have rare mint errors and high-grade conditions that make them insanely valuable. That's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to break down everything you need to know, what makes this penny special, how to spot one, and why collectors are throwing down crazy amounts of cash for it. And stick around till the end, because I'm going to tell you a wild story about how I almost found one, but, spoiler alert, my luck is about as good as a scratched-up lottery ticket. So grab your piggy bank, raid your change jar, and let's get to it. Okay, so what's so special about the 1979 D Lincoln penny? Why would anyone pay $1.3 million for something most people ignore on the sidewalk? Well, here's the deal. Most 1979 D pennies are pretty common, but a few rare ones stand out because of minting errors, high-grade conditions, or unique variations. These factors skyrocket their value at auctions. The three biggest reasons a 1979 D penny could be worth serious money. Some 1979 D pennies were struck with serious mistakes, and collectors go crazy for these. Here are some of the top errors to look for. This happens when the coin is struck twice, causing the letters or Lincoln's profile to appear doubled. If Abe Lincoln looks like he's had one too many espressos and is seeing double, you might have a winner. If your penny looks like the design was printed at an angle or is missing part of the image, it could be valuable. Think of it like a mistakes can make things rare. Some pennies show the D Mint mark stamped more than once. If it looks like the Denver Mint had second thoughts, that's a good sign. The more flawless your penny is, the more valuable it becomes. If you have a 1979 D penny that looks fresh out of the mint, no scratches, no wear, still shiny, then it could be worth thousands, or even millions. A few 1979 pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal. If your penny has an unusual color or weight, it might be a rare one-of-a-kind mistake. Okay, so why is this specific penny fetching a crazy $1.3 million price tag? The short answer, rarity and demand. Collectors are always on the lookout for one-of-a-kind coins. If a penny has a major error, high-grade condition, or a unique feature, it drives up the price at auctions. The highest recorded sale for a 1979 D penny was a mind-blowing $1.3 million, thanks to its perfect condition and rare doubling error. Think about it. One lucky person cashed in on a single penny and walked away with life-changing money. Imagine how many people probably had a rare 1979 D penny in their hands at some point but never realized it. Don't be that person. Check your change. How to find one in your pocket change now. This is where things get fun. You don't need to be a millionaire to start looking for rare coins. You just need patience, good lighting, and maybe a magnifying glass if your eyesight is like mine after binge-watching Netflix for too long. Here's how you can hunt for the 1979 D Lincoln penny worth big bucks. The D means it was made at the Denver Mint. If there's no mint mark, it's from Philadelphia. Not as rare, but still worth checking. Hold it under a light and check for doubled letters, mint mark mistakes, or off-center designs. If something looks weird, you might have a jackpot. The standard 1979 D penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. If yours is significantly different, it could be a rare off-metal strike. If you think your penny looks valuable, send it to PCGS or NGC for grading. They'll tell you exactly how much it's worth. My almost $1 million find. Alright, now let me tell you about the time I thought I struck gold with a 1979 D penny. So, I was at a flea market, digging through a giant jar of old coins that some guy was selling for cheap. I spot a shiny 1979 D penny and, for a split second, my heart skipped a beat. Could this be the one? I whip out my phone, do a quick search, and start examining the coin like a detective looking for clues. People around me probably thought I was losing my mind. It was just a regular penny. Worth exactly 1 cent. Not every penny is a jackpot, but you'll never know unless you check. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 1979 D Lincoln penny worth $1.3 million. This little coin proves that history, rarity, and a little luck can turn pocket change into life-changing money. Start checking your pennies. You never know when you might stumble upon $1 million treasure hiding in your spare change. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, it really helps. And if you want to learn more about valuable coins, collecting strategies, and hidden treasures, don't forget to subscribe. I've got tons of great videos coming your way, and who knows? Your next rare coin find could be your biggest payday yet. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and curious minds. Have you ever picked up a penny, looked at it, and thought, this thing isn't even worth bending over for? Well, what if I told you that one little penny, specifically, the 1960 Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? That's right, a coin that most people wouldn't even glance at could actually make you a millionaire. There's no way a penny is worth that much. But trust me, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and today, I'm going to show you exactly why this little copper beauty is turning heads at auctions. We'll go over what makes this penny so valuable, how to spot one, and why collectors are willing to pay insane amounts for it. Plus, I've got a wild story about a guy who found one in the most unexpected place. Seriously, you won't believe where. So, if you've ever dreamt of finding hidden treasure in your pocket, grab your coffee, get comfy, and let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1960 Lincoln penny. At first glance, the 1960 penny looks like every other penny from the era. It's got Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But what makes this particular penny special? The U.S. Mint made two versions of the 1960 penny. The numbers and the date were printed slightly differently, with a small date version and a large date version. The small date is rarer and more valuable. If you're squinting at a penny right now, you're already a true coin detective. Some 1960 pennies have serious mistakes, and that's where the big money comes in. Look out for, this happens when the coin is struck twice, creating a slight shadow or double image, especially in the date or lettering. Think of it as Lincoln's ghost making a surprise appearance. Some pennies have a D mint mark that was stamped twice, making it look blurry or slightly doubled. These are super valuable. When the penny is stamped off-center, creating a unique, misaligned look. It's like the coin was made on a Monday morning before the coffee kicked in. The highest prices come from pennies that are in mint condition, meaning they look as fresh as the day they were made. A 1960 penny graded MS67 or higher, which basically means it's flawless, is where the $1.4 million price tag comes into play. So why would anyone pay over $1 million for a single penny? Let's break it down. The rarer the coin, the more collectors want it. The small date version with a mint error? That's like finding a four-leaf clover made of solid gold. Only a handful of 1960 pennies have been found in perfect condition, making them ultra-valuable. The coin market is wild. When one rare penny sells for a high price, collectors start scrambling to find another, driving up the value. It only costs 1 cent to own a potential $1 million treasure. That's the kind of investment I can get behind. Now that you know what makes this penny special, here's how to hunt for one. If your penny doesn't have a D under the year, it's from a different mint and not worth as much. Small date versions are rarer, so compare yours to images online to see which one you have. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to check for doubled letters, a repunched mint mark, or an off-center strike. Some 1960 pennies were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet, so if your penny's weight seems off, it could be extra valuable. If you think you found a special one, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and condition. A wild coin discovery story now. Let me tell you a crazy story about a guy, let's call him Mike, who struck gold, or, well, copper, with a 1960 penny. Mike wasn't even a coin collector. He was just an average guy who liked to keep a jar of change in his kitchen. One day, while cleaning out his junk drawer, he decided to dump out all his pennies and sort them. He had no idea what he was looking for, but as he picked up a shiny 1960 penny, something about the date looked off. Curious, he Googled 1960 penny errors and saw that his looked a lot like the rare Doubled Die variety. He sent it off for grading, and a few months later, boom, it was certified as a rare error coin and sold for over $1 million at auction. Mike went from cleaning out his junk drawer to being a millionaire, all because he checked his spare change. Meanwhile, I'm over here shaking every penny like a detective and still haven't found one. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 1960 Lincoln penny worth $1.4 million. This proves that valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. So, before you toss your pennies into the tip jar, take a second and check them, because you never know when you might be holding a life-changing treasure. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, it helps more people discover the hidden value in their change. And if you're serious about coin collecting and want to learn more tricks to find valuable coins, subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more coin hunting tips coming your way. Alright, folks, let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this thing is basically useless? Be honest. Most of us toss them in jars, leave them in our car cup holders, or worse, ignore them completely. But what if I told you one tiny penny from 1984, with a little D mint mark under the year, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million? Yeah, that's right. A single 1984 D Lincoln penny has been sold for more money than most people make in a lifetime. Now, if you're suddenly regretting all the pennies you've ever ignored, don't worry, you're not alone. I, too, have spent countless hours digging through my spare change, hoping to strike gold. The best thing I ever found? A sticky old gum wrapper and a Chuck E. Cheese token. Clearly, I'm still waiting on my millionaire moment, but today, we're diving into the world of the 1984 D Lincoln penny, why it's worth a fortune, and how you can check your own pennies to see if you have a hidden treasure. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you might just be raiding every penny jar in your house. Let's get into it. At first glance, the 1984 D penny looks just like any other coin. It's got good old Abe Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But trust me, there's a lot more to this penny than meets the eye. It all comes down to rarity, errors, and demand. The biggest reason this penny is valuable is because of a rare doubled ear error. Yeah, you heard me right, Abe Lincoln's ear is doubled on some of these pennies. It's like he's wearing an invisible AirPod. This happens when the coin die strikes the metal twice, causing a slightly doubled feature on Lincoln's ear. Coin collectors go wild for mistakes like this, because they're rare, unique, and just downright cool. These are pennies where the stamping was misaligned, leaving part of the design cut off. It's like taking a group selfie and realizing half your face didn't make it into the picture. This happens when a coin is struck without a collar, causing it to spread out wider than usual. Think of it as a stretched out penny that didn't hit the gym. Over time, the coin-making equipment develops cracks, leading to random raised lines or blobs on the penny's surface. Some collectors call these battle scars, and they can add serious value. Why is this penny worth $1.50 million? Now, let's talk money. The rarer a coin is, the more valuable it becomes. That's just how supply and demand work. The 1984 D doubled ear penny is one of the rarest modern errors, and collectors are constantly searching for one in perfect condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS 70, Mint State 70, being absolutely flawless. A high-grade 1984 D penny with the doubled ear error in MS 67 or MS 68 can fetch hundreds of thousands at auction. The highest recorded sale? $1.50 million. Coin auctions can drive up prices even higher. When a rare penny hits the market, serious collectors start bidding big money, turning an ordinary-looking penny into a millionaire's prize. Alright, I know what you're thinking. How do I find one of these? Don't worry, I got you covered. Here's what you need to do: flip your penny over and check under the year 1984. If there's a little D, congratulations. You're in the right ballpark. Grab a magnifying glass and check out Honest Abe's ear. If it looks doubled or extra thick, you might just have a winner. The better shape your penny is in, the more valuable it will be. Coins with little to no scratches, stains, or wear are worth way more. Some rare error coins have slight variations in weight. If your penny feels off, it's worth a closer look. If you think you have a rare find, send it to a grading service like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. They'll authenticate it and give you an official grade, which can make all the difference when selling. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, my buddy Mike was going through his old coin collection. He wasn't a serious collector, just one of those people who saves pennies for fun. One night, he came across an odd-looking 1984 D penny. The ear looked weird, but he figured it was just his imagination. Instead of tossing it back in the jar, he decided to Google it. After some research, he realized he might have a doubled ear penny. So, he sent it off for grading. A few months later, he got a call. His penny was an authentic doubled ear variety, and it sold for over $20,000 at auction. Now, he didn't hit the $1.5 million jackpot, but hey, $20,000 for a single penny? That's insane. Imagine finding one while buying a soda and walking away with enough money to buy a brand new car. Alright, coin hunters, that wraps up today's video. Who knew a tiny 1984 D penny could be worth $1.5 million? Just goes to show you should never underestimate the power of spare change. Before you go, here's your mission: start checking your pennies. Seriously. Search your pockets, jars, and couch cushions. If you find an odd-looking 1984 D penny, get it checked out. You never know, you might be sitting on life-changing money. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, it helps the channel grow and gets more people into coin collecting. And if you want more tips on valuable coins, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out. Alright, let's talk about something wild. What if I told you that a simple 2020 D Lincoln penny could be worth $1.6 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A penny. That little copper-colored coin you toss in your car cup holder without a second thought could actually be worth more than a beachfront mansion. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, it's just a penny. How in the world could it be worth that much? And trust me, I get it. The only time I've ever gotten excited about a penny was when I found one heads up and thought, hey, good luck today. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But today, I'm going to show you why this particular 2020 D Lincoln penny is turning regular people into overnight millionaires. What makes it so valuable, how to spot one, why collectors are going absolutely nuts over it, and of course, how you can find one in your spare change. Plus, stick around until the end because I'm going to share a crazy true story about someone who actually found one of these rare pennies completely by accident. Spoiler, it wasn't me, but I really wish it was. Alright, let's dive in before one of you finds a $1 million penny and forgets about me. At first glance, this penny looks totally normal. It has Lincoln's face on the front, the Union shield on the back, and a tiny D mint mark below the year 2020, showing it was minted in Denver. But here's where things get crazy. Some of these pennies have rare minting errors and unique characteristics that make them worth a small fortune. Some of these pennies were struck with misaligned dies, creating a doubling effect. This means Lincoln's features, the lettering, or even the date might look slightly blurred or doubled. Imagine Lincoln had a twin, except, on a coin. A few of these pennies were struck incorrectly, leaving part of the design missing or shifted. These are like those failed family photos where someone is completely cut out of the picture, except collectors actually want these mistakes. Over time, coin dies wear down, creating cracks or raised bumps on the coin's surface. Some 2020 D pennies have noticeable die breaks that form cool patterns, making them extremely desirable. If your penny looks like it has a tiny lightning bolt running through it, hold on to it, it might be worth a lot. So, why would anyone pay more than $1 million for a single penny? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. First, there are very few of these rare pennies out there. Most pennies are mass-produced to perfection, but when a mistake happens at the US Mint, collectors go wild trying to snatch them up. Second, collectors are competitive. When a rare coin like this goes to auction, wealthy collectors start bidding wars, and suddenly, that little penny is worth more than your entire house. It's like an intense eBay battle, but instead of sneakers, it's a historical artifact. The highest price ever paid for a 2020 D Lincoln penny? $1.6 million at a high-profile auction. That's enough money to buy a Ferrari, a luxury vacation home, and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of tacos. Alright, now for the part you've been waiting for: how you can find one of these $1 million pennies. Make sure your penny has a tiny D below the year 2020. If it's missing a mint mark, it's from Philadelphia and probably not the jackpot you're hoping for. Hold the penny up to a bright light and look for doubling, missing details, or raised bumps. If something looks inspected, some of these errors are subtle, so a good magnifying glass or coin loupe can help you spot tiny details. Some error coins have a different metal composition. If your penny feels heavier or lighter than normal, it might be something special. If you think you found a rare 2020 D penny, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and give it an official value. A wild coin discovery story: who found one of these rare pennies by accident. Dave was at a fast food drive-thru, just minding his business, craving some fries. He paid in cash, got his change, and almost threw the pennies in his glove compartment without a second thought. But something about one of them caught his eye. It looked a little off. He took it home, grabbed a magnifying glass, and started comparing it to pictures of rare pennies online. Boom, he had a doubled die error. He sent it in for grading, and a few months later, it went to auction. The final sale price? Over $1.50 million. Just imagine that. You go out for a burger and come back with $1 million penny. Meanwhile, I check my change every day like a detective and still haven't found one. Life is unfair, and that, my friends, is the incredible story of the 2020 D Lincoln penny worth $1.6 million. It's proof that valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be discovered. So, before you toss your change in a jar or spend it on snacks, check those pennies carefully. You never know, your next coin could be worth enough to change your life. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, it helps more people find valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on rare coins, coin collecting strategies, and how to turn your spare change into serious money. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and treasure seekers. Imagine this: you're digging through your old piggy bank, maybe counting up some change for a coffee, and bam! You come across an old, worn-out penny. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.7 million. That's not pocket change, that's life-changing money. Today, we're diving into the mystery of the 1949 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a seemingly ordinary coin with an extraordinary value. And could you be holding onto a jackpot without even knowing it? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to check for rare features, and what to do if you find one. Plus, I'll share a wild story about a guy who almost spent one of these pennies on a pack of gum until he realized what he had. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's talk big money pennies. Okay, so let's start with the basics. The 1949 Lincoln penny is just like any other classic penny: Abe Lincoln's face on the front, wheat stalks on the back. But here's the kicker: the no-mint mark version is incredibly rare, and collectors are obsessed with finding one in pristine condition. Normally, if a penny was made in Denver or San Francisco, you'd see a little D or S below the year. But if there's no mint mark at all, that means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and that's where things get interesting. So why is this particular penny worth so much? Let me break it down for you. Most pennies from 1949 have been heavily circulated, meaning they've been used, abused, and tossed around for decades. Finding one in mint or near mint condition? Super rare. Some of these pennies were struck with defects, like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Collectors love these because they're like factory mistakes that make the coin one of a kind. Whenever one of these high-grade pennies shows up at an auction, collectors lose their minds. Bidding wars break out, and before you know it, someone's dropping seven figures on a penny. And now, let's talk about one of the highest recorded sales of a 1949 no-mint mark penny. A collector found one in nearly perfect condition, sent it off for grading, and when it hit the auction block? $1.7 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a sports car, and still have some left over for a lifetime supply of pizza. Alright, so how do you know if you've got the golden ticket of pennies? Here's what to look for. Flip your penny over and check below the year 1949. If there's no letter, you're in business. Look closely for things like doubled letters, weird raised bumps, or anything that looks off. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to get a better view. The better the condition, the higher the value. If your penny is shiny, has no scratches, and still has its original copper luster, it could be worth serious cash. Some rare 1949 pennies were mistakenly struck on the wrong type of metal planchet. If your penny feels heavier or lighter than normal, you might have something rare. If you think you found one, don't spend it. Instead, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to confirm its authenticity and condition. Now, let me tell you about Jake, a guy who almost made the most expensive mistake of his life. Jake was at a gas station buying snacks, just a soda and a candy bar, nothing fancy. He handed the cashier a $5 bill, got his change back, and almost tossed a handful of pennies into the leave a penny, take a penny tray, but then he noticed something odd. One of the pennies looked older than the rest. He shrugged, stuck it in his pocket, and went home. Later that night, just out of curiosity, he Googled 1949 no-mint mark penny value, and his jaw hit the floor. Turns out, he had an ultra-rare high-grade penny with a double die error. He sent it off for grading, and guess what? It sold at auction for over $1 million, almost giving away $1 million penny for free. That's why I always say, check your change. Alright, folks, that's the legendary 1949 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, the little copper coin that could make you a millionaire. If you've got some old pennies lying around, start checking them. You never know when you might hit the jackpot, and if you do find something rare, Let me know in the comments. I love hearing crazy coin discovery stories. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about valuable coins, rare errors, and how to turn pocket change into serious cash, hit that like button and subscribe for more coin hunting tips. Alright, folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? I mean, really looked at it. If you're like most people, probably never. Pennies get tossed in jars, lost in couch cushions, and sometimes, if we're being honest, just left behind on the counter at the gas station. But what if I told you that one single penny, a 2060 Lincoln penny, to be exact, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.8 million? Yeah, you heard that right. A penny that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up could literally change your life. Come on, that can't be real. But oh, it's real, and today, we're diving deep into the story behind this incredibly valuable coin. We'll cover what makes it special, how to spot one, and most importantly, how you could have one sitting in your pocket right now without even knowing it. And stick around, because I'll also share a wild story about someone who actually found one in the most unexpected place. Spoiler alert, it wasn't me, but trust me, I've checked every single penny I've touched since I heard about it. So grab your change jar, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's get into it. At first glance, the 2060 Lincoln penny looks just like any other penny you've seen a million times before. It's got good old Abe Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that tiny little D mint mark right under the year, meaning it was made in Denver. Not all 2060 pennies are created equal. Some of them have rare errors and unique characteristics that make them worth way more than just 1 cent. This is when the design was struck twice, slightly off from the first strike. It makes Lincoln's face, the lettering, or even the date look blurry or doubled. Think of it like taking a photo while your hand is shaking, only in this case, it's worth a fortune. These happen when the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting, so part of the design is missing. The more off-center it is while still showing the date, the more valuable it becomes. Imagine taking a selfie, but you accidentally crop half your face out, except instead of deleting it, people are paying millions for it. Over time, the dies used to stamp coins develop cracks, which leave raised lines or weird marks on the penny. If your 2060 penny looks like it has scars, don't ignore it. You might be sitting on a hidden jackpot. This is one of the rarest mistakes, where the penny was stamped on the wrong type of metal. Some 2060 pennies were accidentally minted on copper nickel planchets instead of the usual zinc-coated copper ones. These are incredibly rare and sell for massive amounts at auctions. Okay, so we've got the errors, but why would anyone in their right mind pay $1.8 million for a single penny? Well, let's break it down. There are only a handful of known 2060 pennies with these rare errors, and collectors are obsessed with getting their hands on them. If your penny is in perfect condition, graded MS70, meaning not a single scratch or fingerprint, it's worth exponentially more. Once a rare penny goes up for sale, wealthy collectors battle it out to own it, which drives the price through the roof. Some people collect Ferraris, others collect It's a Wild World. The highest recorded sale of a rare 2060 Lincoln penny? $1.8 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a luxury car, and still have enough left over to never worry about gas prices again. Now, let's get to the part you've been waiting for. How can you find one? Because let's be real, the second this video ends, you're gonna start checking every penny you have. If it doesn't have a D under the year 2006, it's not the one we're after. Hold the penny under a bright light and check for doubling, off-center strikes, or weird markings. Some of these errors are tiny, so unless you have superhero vision, you might need a closer look. If your 2060 penny is significantly heavier or lighter than normal, it could be a wrong planchet error, which is extremely valuable. If you think you've got something special, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll authenticate it and give it a rating, which determines its value. Was cleaning out his old car. You know how pennies always get stuck in weird places? Well, he found one wedged between the seats, covered in dust, and almost threw it away, but something about it looked off, so he decided to check it out. He wiped it off, took a closer look, and saw that Lincoln's face looked doubled. He had no idea what that meant, but he Googled it, sent it off for grading, and guess what? It was a rare 2060 doubled die penny, one of the few known to exist. Long story short, Mike's dusty old penny ended up selling at auction for over $1 million. Imagine that, you go from cleaning your car to being a millionaire, just because you paid attention to your spare change. Meanwhile, I've been checking every single penny I touch, and so far, nada. But hey, hope is not lost. alright, my fellow treasure hunters, that's the story of the 2006 Lincoln penny worth $1.8 million. It just goes to show valuable coins are still out there, just waiting to be found. So next time you get a handful of pennies, don't just ignore them, take a second and check. You might be sitting on a life-changing discovery. And if you do find something interesting, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, it helps more people find valuable coins. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on coin collecting, rare pennies, and strategies to turn your pocket change into serious cash.